Yes. So last time we had discussed about forms. So I had we had little time left, so I didn't include the text area and the type file type which we can include in our form, and even the listing part was left. So we will complete that today, and then we'll move ahead with aligning items in our HTML document along with grids. So we'll do that fast, and I hope we can cover these topics today. So we had learned how to open a form. So for form, we have to just write this word form, and then within this form, we have to add input fields. So input, and then type equals file. Okay, and if I just save it and I refresh my browser. So you see, we have this option over here, choose file. So once I click on this, so I can choose a file from my machine. So if I just click this screenshot.pdf, I can open it, and that file should be selected. You see it's screenshot.103.pdf. So suppose if you are making a form and you want that person to attach his or her resume or a picture of himself or herself, so you can do that just by typing this type equals file. And suppose if you want them to add more than one document, like they can add their picture, they can add their signature, and a few more things. So right now if I just go on this choose file, you see I can choose only one file at a time. Even though if I just click this control thing, still I'm able to choose only one file at a time. Even if I try selecting, I won't be able to select. So for them to select more than one file, what we can do is we can type this small word over here, that is multiple. And if I just save it and I refresh my browser, and if I go to choose files again, so you see I will be able to select more than one file. See, I can select like as many as I want. So here it's showing 6 files chosen. So I can again go and I can select files from the start again. So once I click choose file, so all the previous files are not included. Okay, so you see right now 14 files. If I go click choose files again and I just select 3 files, so you see it's become to 3 files. So once the person clicks choose file, it removes those files which was stored before. So it again sends it to a default number, and then the number of files we choose the next time, the number of files will be displayed over here, like 3 files right now. So I hope y'all have understood this file selection thing in our forms.
Why would someone want to select a file?
See, suppose you have made a form for, say, you have a business and you want people to apply for an interview. So what you will do, you will say that you just fill this form, and along with this form, you attach your picture, your signature, and your resume. Suppose, like you have seen this online admission process, in that we have to select a picture, and like they'll be like upload a picture, upload a signature, and this and that. So when you have to upload files, okay, you have opened a new school and you have made this facility of online admission. So say you want their Aadhaar card picture, so you can add this choose files, and for this you will add this label. Okay, we have learned how to add a label. You just have to open and close the label tag, and within the opening and closing you have to write over here like add a picture of your Aadhaar, save. So that person will see that yes, I have to add a picture of my Aadhaar card, and then he'll click choose files, and then he'll navigate to that particular folder where his Aadhaar card is. So then he will be able to upload his file. So I hope you all have understood how to add a file in your form.
Yes, got it. Thank you.
Yes, you're most welcome. And then we have this list type thing. Suppose if you want to make a list, okay, and then what you do is you have to just type input, and then you have to type this list, and then the name of your list. Say you want to add a list of cars, okay, cars, and I say save it, refresh my browser. So I will be able to add a list over here. So for me right now, you see there's no list over here. So what we will do, we will open this tag, that is data list. Okay, I'll just data list, and then within the data list tab, we have to add this option thing, option. Okay, and then the name of the option, how we had this um, we had we were creating rows and tables. So in that we had this ls I mean li, that stood for list information, something like that. So option and then value equal to the list you want to add, like, okay, so just save it, refresh it. I'll add a few more. Just a second. This should allow me. Well, it's not working for some reason. But suppose you want to make a drop down list, so this is the method you have to use. Okay. So this should be the method. I don't know why is it not functioning well. Yeah, so it should create a drop down list over here. So right now it's not, but I'll see why is it not. But this is the way you have to create a list in your HTML document. So you want them to choose whether they are a student or a professor or something like that. So this is the way they have to make a list. So there's no other way. And of course, using JavaScript, you can make lists and all. I prefer doing that and not this method. You see, it's not working. Either my browser might not have been updated or the syntax might have been changed. But this is the way we have to add a list option. So if you want to add a text area, so what we do is we just open this tag text area, okay, and we close it, and within that you have to write whatever how big the text area should be. Suppose it has to have so many rows and so many columns, so you can add that particular syntax within that. So say you want like 4 rows and 50 columns. So what you'll do, rows equal to 40. You see, I have a text area over here. Okay, it has 40 rows within it. And if I just reduce it to like 4, okay, I just save it, I refresh it. So you see, I have a text area with 4 rows. And then I can add columns also over here. That is calls equal to say 40. I just refresh it. So you see, I have a text area over here. Like you can make a form having say if they have a doubt or they have to report a complaint to your particular company. So what you can do is you can add an input field saying add your username, add your email ID, and add your phone number, and then the comment, I mean whatever complaint they wanted to type over here, so they can go ahead and they can type that particular complaint they have regarding your company or regarding your school, stuff like that. So this text area thing is not within your form, but you have to link it with your form. So if you write form action, and suppose if you're using PHP, so you will add a PHP script within your text area, which will send this particular form information to your database, and it will be stored in that particular form. So suppose if you want to add a text area, so this is the way you have to add it. So you can give it a label as well by just opening this label tag, and you'll just type over here, add a comment, save it, refresh it. You see, you can add a comment over here, so that person won't get lost. He'll be like, oh, what I have to type over here. So he'll read over here, yes, I can add a comment over here, and stuff like that. So this is the text area thing. So he or she can just extend it by clicking over here. If he goes over here, he cannot do it. You see the small thing, it's allowing you to expand it, but you can add a specific number of rows and columns. Rows you go like this straight, and columns you go this way. So this is the way you have to add a text area to your form. And this choose files thing is there, and this drop down thing should work. So I don't know why is it not working. I'll see to it so that I can cover it in the next class. So have you all understood this choose files and this comment thing? I mean the text area part. If not, then I can explain it to you all again. This choose files and comment thing.
Could you please do it again?
The choose files thing.
Yes.
Okay. Say that you have made a form, registration form. Suppose if that person wants to take an admission in your school, so you will want his photograph, you will want his signature and a picture of his Aadhaar card. Okay, so what you will do is you will just simply type this input, and instead of type equal to text, you will type equals to file. Okay, and if I just save it, so that person will be able to choose a file from his or her phone. Okay, if he goes and he's viewing this form in his phone, so he can select that particular type of document. Say if he wants, if it's screenshot of his images in this particular file, so he can just select that image. And say that if you want 2-3 files, not only one file, so what you can do, instead of restricting it to one, it is restricted to one by default. Okay, so you can just type this multiple command, this small query over here, and you just save it and you refresh your browser, and then that person will be able to select more than one document. Like he'll go and he'll select all of these documents and he'll type open over here, so he will see yes, 10 files are selected over here. So this is the way you have to add input field name file. So he can add any file, like an image file, or it can be a txt file, or it can be an html file as well. So let's say if I go in my choose files thing, I go to my desktop and then I search for my web development. So I can select this about.html. I can share it with my person who wants to view this form, or whoever you want to send this form to. So suppose you send it to me and you want me to fill out this profile, and you want a picture of mine, a resume of mine. So I can just add an attachment to my form using this choose files thing. Instead of me emailing you, going to my mailbox, then adding your email, composing a mail and adding these files, that person can just simply click on this choose files button and he can select the file which he wants to share. So you see this is sharing this abc.css, and he can select multiple files. Why? Because of this multiple command. You see, if I just remove this multiple thing, I refresh my browser and I go to choose files. So you see, I won't be able to select all of these files. See, I'm trying to drag, but it's still not allowing. Y'all can also try it. Why? Because I haven't added this query over here that is multiple. Okay, once I add this multiple thing, I refresh my browser. Okay, I click on choose files, and then I'll be able to select n number of files, how many of files I want, and then I'll click open. So you see 10 files are selected. If I just click on choose files again and I select 3 files, so those 3 files won't be added to the previous 10 files. It will go back to 0, and then the number of files you select will be sent to that form person. So whoever you are sending it to, say that a company had sent you that form, so those 3 files will go to that person. And this text area thing, like you have made a small form asking for a review of your course, asking for a review about say a dish he had eaten or a place he had visited. So what you can do is you can add input fields over here, like you can ask him to add his name, his surname, and the place he visited, and a description about the place. Okay, so how will you add that? You will add it using this command known as text area. So if I just open this text area tab, this tag, I open it, and if I just save it, you see there's a default size of my text area. Okay, this is 100% of my browser. So this is the default size. Say if you want to make it bigger, so that person can manually do it. He can manually make it large, make it small according to his wish. But by default, you can also do it. Like calls equals to, say you want him to type in a bigger text area. So you will write like 40 columns. And if I just go ahead and I refresh it, so you see it has 40 columns in it. And if you want to add rows, so I just type rows, and then the number of rows I want to add, say 10. I refresh it. So you see my text area has become bigger. So have you all understood how to make your text area bigger? If not, I can explain it again. So shall we proceed, or you all want a re-explanation of this text area and choose files option within your form? If not, then we shall proceed with our aligning items and our positionings of our CSS. So what I'll do, I'll just erase all this and I'll just save it, refresh. You see there's nothing in my browser. So what we will do is we will open a small division over here. Okay, and I'll give it a class, say parent. Okay, I just save it, and then I'll open multiple divisions within this parent class. Okay, division. So can anyone tell me the function of this division tag? Does anyone remember it? Does anyone remember this division function? If not, I can explain it again as well. I don't mind. You all want a re-explanation of this division tag? Okay, so one person wants it. So what does this division do? It just creates like a container in your HTML document. So if I'll just explain you this division part over here. Say I have made a division over here. I've given it a class. So you can style this division according to your need using this class and this ID, which are the only attributes used to style any particular tag. So mostly for divisions, we use that, the class and ID. So if I just give it a name, say Zach, and if I just go ahead and style my division, if I just refresh my browser, you see there's literally nothing in my division. I mean in my browser. So I can just style my division by the name of its tag. So style, and then can anyone answer how do I style a class? The one who remembers it can answer it. How do I style this class? Style
Dot.
this, yes,
Dot.
and then the name of the class.
Class.
Yeah. And then I have to open these curly brackets and then color, say red, background, say black, and I'll add a height to this particular division, and I'll make it like 100 VH, and if I just save it, refresh it, you see I have a division in my document which has a height of 100 VH. So I can add multiple text within this division, and say if I open a H1 tag on over here, I write something over here, I save it, you see it's coming within my division. So you can have multiple divisions like this, and you can give them different names. So instead of Zach, I write AK, and over here ZA, and over here just K. Okay, and if I just go ahead and I style these divisions, I mean these classes, that is dot A, and then I'll add the same attributes. Yellow, and then next one was pink, and keep it black. If I just save it, refresh it, you see I have multiple sections within my document. So you see whatever I add within this particular division will fit only in this division according to the size and all. It will adjust itself, and it's like a container, like I had explained before as well. If you want an entire revision of divisions, so you can watch the previous tutorials which I had taught. So in short, like I had explained before, like you have multiple tools in your one toolkit, okay, and you want to segregate everything. Like if you want this particular set of tools to remain in this box. So what you'll do, you'll take all your hardware tools like your screwdrivers, your drill machine, your hammer, and you'll add it in a particular box, and you'll write the name of that box, or else write the name on that box of whatever is there inside. So like you write tools in that, and then you make a next box, and you add all the screws in that, and you'll write a name of on that box like screws, and then you'll make a third box or a container having all the wires in it, and you write on that box wires. So suppose after 2-3 days you have to do a project or you want to make something, so what you'll do, you'll just have a look at what all you have, and you'll just quickly open that box and pick up whatever you need, so you won't get confused within that. So I have made a small website type thing. If I just navigate to it, so there I have used these divisions a lot. So suppose if you're making a big website, okay, and you don't want yourself to get confused, so what we do is we just create divisions within that particular website. So if I just go to index.html, just a second, just expand it. So you see, I have created divisions within my website. So like this is the division for my navigation bar, this is for my slider, this is for my grid layouts, this is for my another slider for new arrivals, today's offers, and trending today, hot deals, and stuff like that. So for that purpose, in order to segregate your website into different sort of containers and to make multiple sections within your website, what you do is you create divisions. So therefore we make use of these divisions. And if you want a detailed explanation, you can watch the previous tutorials. So I'll just remove all of these. Okay, I'll just remove this and then we'll continue with this. So say C, and then 1 2 3, then say okay, I just save this and I refresh my browser. You see there's plain content over here, and I'll just zoom in it so I can see. So I'll just add something in my parent class as well. I'll add it in capitals. So I'll add my name. Okay, Amir Zakaria. And you see all of these things are below my name over here. Okay, so this is my parent class, and these are my sub things, sub elements within my document. So if I just go in my developer tools, Control Shift and I, and if I just search for this positions, okay, if I just search for okay, so you see there are no positions given to my document over here. So the general position, which is always by default, that is the relative position. So what does the relative position do? It just aligns everything within your document according to the position in your code. So say Amir Zakaria was placed first. So the relative position, what will it do? It will just place it first. Then comes ABC. That was placed second in my code. So that will be placed as second, and then so on. So I'll just add some style to this so that you can differentiate within these particular classes. Okay, so the first one is parent. Okay, I'll just save it, and I'll add a background. Say I'll add aqua. Okay, and I'll just remove the height. Okay, and I'll keep a color as it is. You see all of these elements have this particular background as aqua. So I'll just give other elements a different color. So my second element is child 1. So the background is yellow, color is this. So I'll add child 2 over here. 2. Just save it, refresh it. Yeah, just remove this 50 VH. VH stands for view height. So you all can use that instead of pixels as well. And you all can use it. Okay. So this is my child 3, and this is my child 4. Okay, I have 4 childs over here in my document, and you see all of them have a different position. So if I go in my external CSS, you can do this positioning styling in your internal CSS as well, but I prefer doing it in external CSS so that you all don't get confused in the styling. So I'll just type the name of my parent class, parent, and then these brackets, and then the others which we had, that was child 1, then child 2, child 3, and child 4. If I just copy it, and I just paste it. All right. So this becomes my child 2, this is my child 3, and this is my child 4. If I just save it, you see there's no change in this particular document. Okay, if I just refresh it, you see there's nothing over here. So if I just add this thing, top equals to say 10 pixels for my 100 pixels for my child 1. Okay, if I just save it, I want to just give a top distance, like I don't want it to stick to this Amir Zakaria. Okay, I'll just save it, and if I just refresh my browser, you see there's no change in it. Okay, so I can add that particular change using a position in my CSS, that is relative position. Okay, and now if I just keep it to 10 pixels, so you see it has moved itself 10 pixels below its original position. And what is it doing? It is overlapping this second element, that is my child 2. You see it's overlapping my child 2. Why? Because this position, what it does is it moves itself completely from that place and it adds 10 pixels top. So if I would have given 10 pixels bottom, okay, bottom, and I just save it and I refresh my code. Okay, so it has gone above its position, which was the relative position. If I just remove this, I just save it. So this was its original position. But if I just add bottom 10 pixels, so it is moving itself within that parent container 10 pixels above its original position. So this relative position is not used that much, but there are times when you need this relative position when you want something to stay in that particular place, and you can add a top, a bottom, a left, and a right. So if I just write top over here and I add like 20 pixels, and then I can add left equals to say 13 pixels, and if I just save it and refresh it, you see the position of my element has changed completely within the parent element. So you use this position relative to make changes in your element, and it will act according to your particular need. So if you wanted to overlap something, so it will overlap that particular object, and using this relative position, you can add top, left, right, and bottom to your HTML document. So if I just add right over here and say 13 pixels, so it will move itself 13 pixels towards the right from its original parent element. So if I had kept it 0, okay, and I just refresh it, so it will go back to its normal position, it won't move around. So this relative position is not widely used, but there are times when you might have to use this relative position in your HTML document. So the relative position can have and can be adjusted using right, then left, and then top and bottom. So you can add right, left, top, bottom to your element using this relative position. So where's this bottom? So these 4 things you can change using this relative position. So you cannot add this particular thing in center. We use another thing known as align items and text align. So I will cover that soon today itself. So the first position we learned was relative. So I'll just comment this out so y'all can just practice it, or y'all can take a screenshot of it. and use it later on. So just save it. So right now it has no styling. So the next position we can add to your HTML document is the fixed position. Position equals fixed. Okay, for my child one, the first is ABC. I'm adding a position which is fixed. If I just save it and refresh it, you see it is using that much space which it requires to fill itself. So if I just increase this ABC to, yes, it's over here, to, and I add more things over here. If I just save it, you see it's occupying more space, but within that particular parent element, it is not occupying any space. So say if I had given this fixed position to another element which was not in my parent element, if I just remove this division over here, the main division, if I just save it, you see, yes, it's because it's in a division tag, so it's not occupying space. So if I just add another division over here on top of it and I add something, so it's making the next element come beneath itself. So it's just that element is not counting its position, so you cannot view which element is there below it. So you'll be like, what is the use of this particular position? So what you can do is, if I just increase the height of my parent element, so I'll just keep this parent to back and I add a height say 400 VH. And once I start scrolling, you see this fixed position, it's there in its particular place, so it's not moving itself. So if I just go below, it still has this space which it had before. So I can add this top equal to say 0. I just save it, refresh it, so it's gone on the top, and it's gone basically out of its parent element. So if I just add left over here, like right equal to like 0, and if I just save it, you see it's gone towards the right. So once I scroll down, you see it's staying in the same position, it's not moving anywhere from its place. So if I just write top 10 and I just refresh it, so it will be 10 pixels from the top, from the particular margin. So it has moved itself outside that container just because I have added this top, right, left and center. So no, there's no center, but you can add bottom or you can add left, something like that. So this fixed position, it doesn't move itself anywhere outside this position which was assigned to it. So if I just save it and I refresh my code, and this is the position which was assigned to it according to the code. So if I just go in my code, so it was placed second below this. So if I just remove this, save it, refresh it, so now it's come on the top. So but if I add top equal to 0, okay, top 0, so it will move itself completely outside its parent element. So this was this parent class and it has moved itself outside it. So I can like write left equal to 0. So when I add this 0, you don't have to add pixels or you don't have to add say unit to it, because any unit, it will have to be 0 itself. So it makes no sense writing 0 pixels or 0 VH, that stands for view height, or 0 EM. So by adding these, you remove it completely outside its parent class. So it will no longer stay within its parent element and it will move itself completely outside that particular division. So you can add top, left, bottom, anything you want. These 4 things you can use for your fixed position. Okay, so that is right. So yes, so these are the 4 things you can use in your fixed position. In your relative, you can use these 4. In your fixed, you can use these 4. But if you had kept this position as absolute, so it wouldn't work. So I'll cover absolute also today. So I'll just comment all this much, and I'll show you all another position known as sticky. The sticky position is like more often used, and it's more preferred by most of the developers. So right now you see it's this ABC, it's within its parent element. I'll just write the parent name also. So you see it's within this parent element. So now if I add this position as sticky, position equals sticky, okay, not static but sticky, and you see there's no change in my code. But as I start scrolling down and I add this top equals say 0, okay, I refresh it. So as I start scrolling down, you see the sticky position goes on the top and it doesn't move itself from the parent element. But when you go on the web page, so at the start it's in its relative position, but as you start scrolling, you see it's gone on top equal to 0 pixels. Say if I would have add 10 over here, 10 pixels. So and I just refresh it. So you see it's 10 pixels from the top of the web page. So you can add top, then you can add this left. So left equals to 20 pixels. Just refresh it. I think I should add more. So yes. Yes, so you can add top, left, bottom as well. And if I just keep it as 0, so you see it's not moving itself outside this parent element, but once you start scrolling, so it no longer stays in this particular position. So you can add say 70 pixels as well. So once you refresh it, so it is 70 pixels from the top of its parent position. So this sticky position is used like you go to some websites and you see this. In my case, I haven't added this navigation bar as a sticky position. So once I just scroll down, so I don't see this navigation bar every time. So many websites, they prefer keeping their navigation bar in a sticky position. So once they start scrolling, so they will always see that navigation bar towards the top of their web page. So I hope you all have understood this sticky position as well. So if you have a doubt in the sticky position or else this relative position or else this fixed position, you all can just raise that doubt. If not, then we shall continue with our grids. Anyone has a doubt, they can just raise that doubt. So you see, if I keep this top equal to 0, okay, I just remove this pixel and I just refresh it. And once I scroll, it has 0 pixels padding or margin from the top. But if I keep my position fixed, okay, I'll just comment this. All right, so and I'll use this styling, position fixed, and I keep it as 0, okay. Top equals 0, top say 0, and if I refresh my browser, you see it goes towards the top of my web page. Even though if I don't keep this as top equal to 0, I save it, still it has no position which it is occupying in my document. So I'll just make it right equals 0 and I save it. You see it's still not occupying any space in my document. So if you add 0 in the sticky position, well, in sticky you don't have right and left, but you have this top and bottom. So in sticky, you can only use top and bottom. I just add it over here. Okay, and you can add a top or else a bottom in your sticky position, but in your fixed position you can give it any position, and it doesn't physically occupy that space. It just either overlaps it or it stays in that space which you had assigned it to stay. So if I just put it as top equal to 0 and I just save it, you see it's on the right top of my web page, and it's not occupying any space, so it's not making this particular container come down or something like that. So in sticky, what happens, that position is occupying that space in that container. So you saw that this 123 was coming below ABC, and not ABC was not overlapping that 123. This overlapping is happening because this ABC has no literal position in that container. So we use sticky, and there are times, suppose you want to display a pop-up ad, and you just don't want that person to ignore that ad. So what you do is you use a fixed position to that element. So these were all the positions which a person needs to know for their CSS styling. So there is sticky, there is relative, and there is fixed. So if you all have a doubt with these three positions, you all can just raise that doubt. If you all haven't understood it, you all can ask me to repeat myself. I don't mind. If you all want to practice it, so just let me know that, so that I can give you all some time to practice this particular code right now. So shall I proceed, or you all need time to practice your code? So I think we shall proceed. So I'll just remove this entire styling from my style sheet, and all this code, and I just save it. I refresh my browser. You see there's nothing in my browser. So now we will see how to add a grid to your website. So what are grids? They are just basic positions which you use. So you see all of these, they are in a grid box over here. So I have added a grid style on my website. So you see all of them, they are in one particular parent element, and they have aligned themselves according to their position and according to their pictures. So say you are making an e-commerce website, okay, and you want to add multiple products in one particular row, and in with using that row you will add like multiple rows as well. So there will be many columns and there will be many rows. So you can do that using this grids function. So it is a part of CSS only, so it's got nothing to do with your front end code. You just have to add a division or a class to your content so that you can style it. So I will just create a division over here, and I'll add a class. Okay, I'll add this main, and within that main thing I will add multiple divisions. Okay, just division. Okay, and I'll add some content within my divisions. Okay, If I just save it, I refresh it, refresh my browser, you see there is content in my HTML web page. Okay, I'll just reset it to 100%. Okay, and I want them to be in a grid format. So what will I do? I will just go in my style sheet, or you can do an internal styling as well. So that shouldn't be an issue. So I prefer styling it in my style sheet, and I just style my main element, main, and then you will write this particular syntax. Okay, so instead of writing position or something, we'll write display equals to grid. Okay, not inline grid, but just grid. Okay, if I just refresh my browser, you see there is no change in my HTML document. So what will I do? I will write grid template columns, because I want to create columns, not rows. These are by default in a row. You see, this is one row, this is second row, this is third row, this is fourth row, fifth, sixth, and so on. So I will write this grid template columns, and then what will I do? I will assign the value to that column. So that value can be in fraction, that value can be in percentage, and according to your need, it can be in pixels as well. So if I just add 40%, okay, just 40% and 30% and another 30%. Okay, if I just save it, refresh my browser, you see it is repeating itself in this particular ratio, 40%, 30%, and this 30%. So if I want, I can add gap to this grid, and I can add background, etc. So what will I do? I'll just add a background color. So you can style your class in multiple times. So same goes with the ID. So if I just write main over here, I just background, and I'll add a background, say gray. Just save it. So you can see these backgrounds, they are gray in color. And if I want to separate these grids, okay, I just need a gap between these grids. So what will I do? I'll write grid and gap. Okay, grid gap, and you can add a gap in pixels as well as in em. So if I just write 1 em, and if I just save it, you see all of them have been given a gap. So the reason, because all of them have this gray color background, because I have added this background to my main document, to my main section. So if I just write division over here, so you see all of them have a background, gray color background. So you see this particular element has 40% of my web page. If I just expand my browser, so you see it is occupying 40% of the space. This element is occupying 30%, and this is also occupying 30%. So you can give as many as you want. So say if I had given this not 40%, but rather 20%, this equal to say 25%, and oops, this is 15, and this as well as 25%. So, and one more I can add. So I'll add 30% over here. So just save it. You see four things are being repeated in my grid layout. So I can reduce it, I can increase it. So say if I want only two of them to be seen, so what will I do? I will add 70% and 30%. So you see this is occupying 30% of the space, and this one is occupying 70% of my browser space. So if you want a gap only for the rows and not for the columns, so what you can do is you can add this grid column gap. So instead of writing just grid gap, you add this column, and this gap. And if I just refresh it, you see the columns are being separated and not the rows. So I can add, instead of column, I can add rows. I refresh it. You see the columns are not being separated, but the rows are being separated. And if you want all of them to be separated, so instead of this rows, you just keep grid gap. Okay, and if you refresh it, so it automatically gives a gap in the rows as well as in the columns. So for rows, you have to write grid row gap and the value you want to assign. And for columns, you can write grid column gap. Column gap, and you can give that gap according to your need. So this is just the basics of your grid. So have you all understood this much, or shall I repeat myself? If you want,
Sir, is that 1 EM?
yes, it is 1 EM. So you can keep it to pixels also. Okay, so it's not necessary it has to be EM. So say I want to add 2 pixel gap. So you see it's giving a 2 pixel gap and not 1 EM. So I can add like 10 pixels gap as well. So you see now it's 10 pixel gap. So I can adjust the gap according to my need within the rows and columns just by adding the gap in my rows. Say I want the rows to be close to each other, but not completely close. So what will I do? I'll just give it 2 pixels. Let's save it. And for my grid column gap, I'll give it like 15 pixels. I want them separated from each other. Okay, so you see my rows are having a less gap and my columns are having a bigger gap. So you can assign that by typing this grid row gap and grid column gap. So you can adjust it according to your need by typing these two instead of writing just grid gap. So if you just write grid gap, it will give the same gap to the columns as well as to the rows. It will give a uniform gap, so not different for rows and different for columns. So have you all understood this grid system, or you all want me to repeat it? Okay, so you must have typed the front end code wrong. So if you just copy this, do you all want to practice this much and then proceed further, because this grid part is very important. So it can make your design of your website even more attractive and even more better and catch the attention of the user. So you'll have to understand this grids completely. So you all want to practice it, you all can practice it. Someone has a problem, you can share your screen if you want. Yes, you all can practice it. So I think so. In you haven't given this. Shalom, what exactly problem are you getting? You just can't see the gap. Is that your
Yes,
problem?
sir.
Yes. So
Yes, sir.
in the styling, you have to type this main, and then you write this less than greater than sign, whichever you want, and then the division and the background equal to gray.
Yes, sir.
You have typed this
Yes,
exactly.
sir.
And have you kept divisions within your main division?
Yes, sir.
So you can just share your screen.
Yes, sir.
Stop sharing. Is anyone else facing a problem or has a doubt regarding grids? Please raise that doubt. And where's your CSS file?
I'll just share the screen then one minute.
You haven't linked your CSS file.
Oh yeah. How do you do that then?
Link rel and then you link your style sheet.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're most welcome. So can you all see my browser as well as my text editor? You see this line you have to type link rel style sheet. These two things, they are not exactly that important, but if you just add it, so it gives more information to your developer, like a new person is updating your website, so he will know, yes, the styling was done in css, not in bootstrap, not in less, not in say ajax or something like that. So href equals to the name of your file with the proper extension. All right, if you don't write this extension, so what will happen if I just type cs and I refresh my browser? You see there's no styling done to my document, so you have to write css and then refresh your browser and you can see the styling over here. Anyone else has a doubt or a problem? So you can just view my HTML as well as my CSS code while practicing, so you all don't have a problem. And once you all are done practicing, you all can ask me to continue with the lecture. Are you all done or you all still need some more time?
Some more time.
Okay, okay. And if anyone else has a doubt, they can just raise that doubt. So it shouldn't be an issue. I shall solve that doubt. Yes, so I'll explain this part, this main and then this bracket, I mean this less than greater than sign and then the division. So what is it doing exactly is from my main class, that is this, you see this division over here, if I just click this arrow, so all my content has gone inside it. So if I just expand it, so in my main class, what is it doing? It is styling my division and it is giving each division a background color. Okay, so if I just create a new division over here, okay, division, and I'll give it a name, class equals to tags. Okay, and then I write h1 tags in this, and I'll add something in the h1 tags. Okay, if I just save it, I'll just copy these h1 tags. Okay, I just save it and I go in my browser, I refresh it, you see these Amir, and these H1 tags can be seen easily. Okay, so if I just style my H1 tag, so what I'll do, I can do it internally as well as externally. So let me do it externally only. Just put it over here. So I go in my main styling. Okay, the what name I had assigned to this, I had assigned the name to my class as tags. So what I'll do, I'll put a full stop and then the name of my class, that is tags. Okay, if I just open my curly brackets and I add a background color. Okay, background say red, and if I save it, see this entire division, this entire container is having this red color background. So I don't want that. Okay, so what I can do, I want separate backgrounds for each of them. Instead of me writing a background color for this h1 tag, if I just go over here and I write uh, background equal to say blue, and if I just save it, I refresh it, you see all of them have the blue color background. Okay, so I can do that in an easier way. What I will do is I'll write the name of my class and I'll add this greater than sign. Okay, so which will show that in my class tags select h1 tag. Okay, it is selecting the h1 tag, and if I just save it, so this particular styling will be assigned only to my h1 tag and not to other tags. Okay, I'll just add a color. Okay, color say white. Okay, I save it. So you see, it is selecting my h1 tag and it's assigning this styling to my h1 tag from this division tags. So I'll just rename this division. Say I'll just give it a division like say division only, and I'll just change this to division itself. Okay, and now I have h1 tags. I'll add a h2 tag as well. Okay, h2 tag, and then okay, I'll just copy this multiple times. I just save it, I refresh it. You see the Zach word is not getting this styling, but my H1 tag is getting. So what will I do for styling the Zach? So I'll open my division again, I mean the class again. So I've given that division class's name as division only. So I'll write division, and within that division, select the H2 tag and not the H1 tag. So I'll write this less than greater than sign, and it will select the H2 tag and not my H1 tag. So I can style my H2 tag, say color equals to yellow and background equals to black. If I just save it, so what is it doing? It is selecting h2 tag from my division tag, okay, for my division class, and it is assigning that styling. So suppose if I had a paragraph tag, okay, if I open a paragraph tag and I type something, I save it and I refresh it. So you see my paragraph tag does not have that styling. So how will I add the same styling to my paragraph tag? Can you tell if you have understood? If you haven't understood, you can ask me to explain it. So suppose I want to add the same styling to my paragraph tag. So what will I do?
Paragraph and then open the curly bracket and then write whatever styling in your CSS.
Yes, so I'll write the name of my class, that is division. Then I'll add this sign over here, less than greater than. So I have to write select from my division tag select the paragraph tag, then the curly brackets, and I'll just add a color, say blue. Just refresh my browser. So you see all of them have become blue. But if I just remove this H1 and this particular less than greater than sign, and I just comment this code out. Okay, I just add a star and I comment it. So what will happen is it will give this particular styling to all of my elements in my division class. So you see all of them have the color white and the background as red. Suppose if I wanted to give this styling only to my h1 tag, so I would add this arrow type thing and then I would write the name of my h1 tag. Suppose if I wanted to give this styling only to my h2 tag, so I would write h2, save it, refresh it. You see all of them don't have this styling, but my h2 tag is having it. So what is it doing? From this class division, it is selecting the tag. That is h2. You can add a comma, and I think so, and you can add h1 as well. Let's see. Yes, it's work. So you can add a comma and you can style it. So it is giving this styling to each of my h1 tag, okay, and not to my entire division or not to my entire container. So if you have understood it, so it's good. If not, I can explain it again. I don't mind that. Okay, that's good. So basically it just selects this particular element from your class. So you can give this class any name. It can be division, it can be name, it can be surname, it can be anything. All right, so have you all understood this grid thing? And
Hello.
yes.
Amit, you always said that the latter half overtakes the command in the latter half overtakes the command in the first half. So, I mean, then how does this not overtake it? Because you have changed the color in the first part, right? And the H2 colors were in the latter half.
Yes, so what I did, instead of writing H2 again and then doing it, I just added a comma over here and I wrote H1 over here. Can you see this text editor?
No, before you wrote this, before you could put the H2 and H1, you had deleted that, right? And everything was red and white. But you always said that the latter half overtakes the first half, the command.
No, what is happening is it is just styling this H2 tag. So if I would have added H1 over here, okay, and I would have styled it again. So then it would have happened. See, I just remove this. I just add a comma over here. I just save it. So you see in my first thing, I want the color to be white and the background to be red. But in my second thing, I again coded it. I wrote another styling for it. And I have written, no, my H1 tag should have a yellow color and a black color. And if I just save it, I refresh my browser, you see it's following the second code and not my first code.
Okay.
So if I just change this from H1 to H2, so it is just selecting my H2 tag. It is just styling my H2 tag and not all the tags in my web page. It is just styling my H2. So from this class named division, so it is selecting my H2 tag, only my H2 tag, not my H1 tag. So if I wanted my H1 tag to be selected as well, so I have done it over here, and you can write the same code. You just put a comma, then H2, then comma, and then P. And if I just save it and I just delete this, okay, save it again. You see all of them have this particular styling. So say I wanted a different styling for my paragraph tag. So you see my color is blue, and for my H2 tag I wanted a different styling as well. So I refresh it. So it is following my latter half. Now I haven't added a background color for my paragraph tag. I haven't changed the background, so it will remain as red as default. So if I want to change my background as well, and I'll keep it as white. Okay, I save it. You see it's white. So if I wouldn't add this background thing and I just save it, it is using the background which it had been assigned before in my paragraph tag. You see I have added my paragraph tag over here, and if I just remove it from here, I save it, refresh my browser, you see I have no background. So this arrow is just selecting my h2 tag. It is not disturbing the stylings in my h1 tag. It is just styling my h2 tag. It's like you're just basically you're just opening your h1 tag and you're styling it, and you give it a style, and then you go on to your h2 tag, and then you are assigning the styling. But now what are you doing? You're just selecting that h1 tag from that particular container. Okay, so the container's name was division, and I'm selecting the h1 from my division tag, I mean from that particular division. So if I would have added a styling to my h1 over here, and I would have h1 tags in my code before this division, I just open one h1 tag over here, add something, refresh it. You see my h1 tag, I haven't added a css, so color equals aqua. Okay, and color equals say red. You see I have two h1 tags, okay, one in my container and one outside my container. So the one outside my container is having this aqua color. So below my container also, if I just open one h1 tag and I type something, I refresh it, okay, just refresh my browser, you see I have another h1 tag below having the color aqua. All right, can you just see it, or shall I? So all my h1 tags are having the aqua color except that of my division. So you see my division is having this red color in the h1 tag. So if you just practice it 2-3 times, so you might understand it. Orally, I might not be able to explain it 100%, but if you just practice it, this you just add this symbol that is less than, greater than, and you write the name of the tag which you are selecting. So it's just basically from the division, it is selecting the h1 tag. All right. So I hope you all have
Okay.
understood it.
Yes, thank you.
You're most welcome. So someone has raised her hand. Yes, Shalom.
Yes, sir. So that a grid thing and the division thing is still not happening.
It's still not happening. So you want me
Yes,
to
sir.
just share your screen? I'll just stop my sharing. Others, is it happening for y'all? Or is anyone else also having this problem? Can you open your CSS file?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Go in your grid.html. Grid.css. Just add this tab in your division. So all these divisions in the main container, just select all of them and click this tab button within your division. No. Within your main division, you have this main division, right? So all of this, yes, don't select the first line which you have selected. First and last, don't select. Yes, click tab. Okay, and save it. This is refresh the browser. Okay, so go in your grid.css. Okay. Hmm. You just rename your CSS file as this in small letters.
So actually I did that, but it's not showing over here. So like over here, it's the small letters.
Okay, it's in small letters. Okay. Hmm. Columns. Just a second. Yes, your syntax is completely fine. Even your background color is not coming. So just go in your yes HTML file and the head tag. Yeah, you haven't closed one. This double inverted comma. See, after text slash CSS, you haven't closed that double inverted comma. Yes. Now save it and refresh it.
Oh, thank you,
Now
sir.
it's working. So you can add a grid gap so that you can see the difference in your grid. So yes, one more person. It didn't work for this
Thank you,
person.
sir.
So you want to share your screen, sister? You can just unmute yourself and you can just share your screen so I can just check what is happening. So anyone else, is it not working for them, this grid formation? Okay, so it's working for, so sister Francisia, I think so. Yes, is it okay? It's working. Okay, okay. So anyone else is having a problem with this? So like it's already 10 o'clock. So if I just go ahead with the class, so it will become too late. So I'll just show you all one more thing. Instead of this percentage, you all can use fraction as well. So okay, 1 FR, 1 FR, okay, FR, okay, 1 FR, 1 FR. So if I just refresh my browser, so you see it is having a similar fractional value. So in grids, we prefer using fractions and not percentages. Okay, in adding pictures, we prefer percentage and not fractions. So you can add multiple number of things, one more FR, so it will create 3 columns. You see 3 columns. So suppose if you want this particular column to be bigger, so instead of writing 1 FR, you can write 3 FR. Or so you see this middle column has become bigger and the rest have become a bit smaller. So you can use fractions, you can use percentages, and for grid row and grid gap, so you can use these syntax. And yes, that's about it for today, I think. So we will meet tomorrow at 8:30 and we'll complete this grid part. So if anyone else has a doubt, they can just raise it. It can be a doubt from the previous sessions also. So others can leave. So I think so. It's all for today. So if anyone else has a doubt regarding the previous sessions also, so they can raise that doubt right now. If not, then we shall end this class over here.
So I had a doubt about forms. I think this question was actually asked, but I didn't really get it.
Yes. So
Basically,
you can,
when some
yes.